All right, let me just adjust some stuff. I think I timed this perfect for Maniac. Yes, I sure did. Welcome to the Sunday read with Supergirl. So I initially was going to do, what should I call it? Like superhero Sunday school, but instead we're going to do a very special read by Alan Moore, Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow. So that's cool. The song could be, I think I love Flashdance. I love the 80s. And this story is from the 80s as well. So as we get started, hey Master Sith, hey Gotten Bitch, we're going to be doing, I think I show you guys the comic book first. Whew. Whew. I had to get some, what do you want to call it? Hydration. All right, so as we all get settled in, I'm going to get started with the read. Okay, so welcome to Sunday. Happy Sunday, everybody. Welcome. Hey, Rando G. So welcome. I'm just going to turn the music down just a twinge. Okay, so I was originally going to do superhero school. We're going to talk about stuff, but instead we're going to do a read. Hi, Randy. So we're going to do, I'm going to show you. So actually, lies. First of all, I wanted to read you guys this. Oh my goodness. It's also Fan Expo weekend here in Toronto. I think this is the last day. Yesterday, we were at Rec Room. They had like an after party there for like comic book stuff. I don't like huge crowds though, and so I I like just go where like early, see all the stuff, and then like go before it gets too hectic. So that's me doing that. But I'm going to read you guys something from this. This is a gift that I got from my sister when I was visiting Vancouver. It's the DC Universe, the stories of Alan Moore. So if you guys aren't familiar with Alan Moore has also written Rando G, like I also just don't like waiting in line. So a lot of like the cool installations, of course, you have to wait in line if you don't get there early enough. So that goes for everything. I love going to like theme parks or amusement parks when it's like dead, so you can like first up to the roller coaster rides, but I hate waiting in line. So, but originally what I wanted to read you guys today, it's an early read, it's Sunday, right? So I wanted to read you guys this, Crypto, the last dog of Krypton, but Wolfie, we went to the dog park earlier, and he doesn't usually, hey Dandy Money Man, happy Sunday, how's it going? So this was originally on the deck for me to read you guys Crypto, the Last Dog of Krypton. I may still read some panels from it. Crypto also appears in the story that I'm going to read you guys right now. Hey, birthday twin, what's up? It's Supergirl Sunday, baby. Welcome to the live. So I go live as Supergirl every Sunday. I am still trying to nail down a consistent time, but I'm trying to call it like superhero school. So I initially wanted to I had like my whiteboard planned, and I was gonna be like, okay, let's talk about secret identities. Right? Because Supergirl has there's different storylines. I have like a folio of a bunch of Supergirl comic books that go into like her first origin story. Like when I was in Vancouver picking up these comic books, actually at Golden Age Comic Books there, I was talking to the old guys in the back being like, what was the first comic book that Supergirl had a title card for? And so we talked about like her origin story and how it's very varied. And I can go into Crypto as well, because I did see the Superman movie and I loved it. I liked it. It was a version of Superman that I think it was good. It was good. The only thing, this is not a critique, right? This is more about like pointing out the fact, like how at the end, Millie, my goodness, what is her name? Millie Attic. She was in House of Dragon. She's playing Supergirl in Woman of Tomorrow. And I don't know if Crypto's in that. He might be in a later issue, because I have actually a few issues from Woman of Tomorrow. But Crypto's not Supergirl's. Like in this universe, my Wolfie, see this movie, yeah, right? Wolfie is mine, so Crypto is Supergirl's. Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh, I was just talking, I didn't see the gifts. Thank you. Oh, hi Pokey, how's it going? Wow, 50% of my live goal already. Yay. Rando G, thank you for joining the club, the superhero. I call it the Cosmic Comic Book Club. And I'm going to have it where we have new moon and full moon readings and analysis. So today is just going to be something from Alan Moore. Alan Moore is Sag, didn't let me do the reference. What do you mean, Pokey? What reference? Did I miss a reference? It's so funny how when you go back to old things that you've read and you're like, wait a minute, I was too young to get that joke. And now that I'm of age, I understand how dirty that joke was. Right? I made a Superman reference. I think I missed it. Let's see. I don't know what the heck. Did it censor it? Regardless. Okay, but Crypto, let me show you just a bit of stuff in here before I go into Alan Moore. I'm going to have to refine my spot now. Yeah, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's Supergirl. So, first things first, you guys, as it comes to, there it is. I think it's there. So Supergirl's origin story, the way I understand it, and I'll let you guys know about it as well, is that remember there's multiple versions of the same thing. In this movie, right, at the end, spoiler alert for if you haven't seen this movie yet, at the end, Supergirl makes an appearance and she says, like, Superman, thanks for watching Crypto, bitch. And she's just drunk because she goes to planets with red suns so she can get wasted because, you know, she's overpowered here on this earth where you have a yellow radiated sun, right? So no spoilers. And so it's inferred that the reason why Crypto is so crazy is because Supergirl has no boundaries and just lets Crypto like shake her around and she loves it. And I mean, like, I can kind of understand that as well, being a dog mom to a Crypto-like creature, magical time traveler. I'm actually working on a game starring my dog Wolfie called Quantum Wolfie Adventures. And Pokey, I'm going to credit you for the sock collecting thing. He loves socks. So once he collects 4 socks, you get like a power-up. And if he gets enough power-ups, he can open up a portal and jump to a new time stream, right? Peacemaker S2. Ooh, okay. I need to check into that. Also, you guys, quick tip, watch Secret Level on Amazon. It's got a series of animated shorts that have to do with different video game worlds, and it does a great job of like, yeah. Oh, thanks, John. Yeah, well, so I clicked to call this Superhero Sunday School because to me, like in the frivolous comic books, right? A story is a story is a story. They have to all have a beginning, middle, and end. There's typically, you know, the introduction. I took English literature in university, right? I basically took a degree that was kind of like an unemployment degree. But I became a project manager. I ended up working in corporate anyways, but I've come back around to be very creative because of the fact that, like, I've realized through, you see the mushies behind me, I've done a lot of deep soul searching. And the universe, or whatever you want to call it, has told me that everything is story. That is the codex behind everything. And even songs are story. And because of all of that, there is a structure and a way of us, you know, being able to tell the future, being able to find a rhythm with things, all that kind of stuff. So bringing this back to Crypto's backstory in the movie, this movie, it's inferred that Supergirl is Crypto's owner, right? Actually, not owner. There's no such thing as pet owners. I think of it as like companions. We're guardians to them, right? So when it comes to Crypto here, this looks just like Wolfie, right? How when he's sleeping. And look at him here, right? Oh, thank you, Snow FL. Thank you for the rose. So I'm just going to read you a tiny, tiny bit because it takes place in Krypton, right? And it gives us some backstory to Krypton and then I'm going to read you guys Alan Moore, okay? So here you can see here, Crypto, and he's like, what is that? And that exactly like how Wolfie is every morning. Wolfie knows exactly when food time is in the morning, and he'll wake up my husband. Like, we'll jump on the bed at exactly like food time and like rip open all the covers and like lick him till he like till he wakes up. So Wolfie's very regimented, and I think we could all learn a lot from being in sync with like the universe. Hey, voice of one, so nice to see you, soul brother. Welcome to the live. Okay, so we've got Crypto. He's like, oh, stretch, waking up. We're on Krypton right now, right, guys? And then this is Kal-El's mom, Superman's mom, saying, there's a good boy. Kal-El is fussing. So this is baby Superman, right? That's Jor-El fussing on. Yeah, Wolfie forever. I'm giving you guys some backstory to Crypto right now. I would have Wolfie on this live. I'm going to have a full read of this with Wolfie coming up very soon. But he's tired. We went to the dog park, and he's not very social. He's very shy, but dogs love Wolfie, and so there's this he's just learning how to like assert himself, and I think it's just like we can learn a lot from that too, right? Being aware of like Wolfie is spooked. No, he's just tired. You know, I mean, some of you guys who are maybe, let's say, more introverted or deeply empathetic, when you go into large crowds or you're dealing with a lot of people, and even though it's fun, you need to come back and recharge heavily after that, right? Just because it's a lot of effort. Whereas like some people who are more extroverted actually get charged up by being in crowds. And so it's good to know like what kind of individual you are. Oh, thank you, John. I have the 80s in the background because this isn't an 80s comic book. This is, of course, a much newer comic book that, I mean, I have to credit this movie for people loving Crypto, like people even knowing that Crypto existed. Because in the movie, it's just like, wait, you have a dog? And you know, there's nothing more attractive than like a guy and his like relationship with his dog to me. I don't know. It's just, there's a special like warging, like, I can see Wolfie with even my hubby, the way that they are with each other, being on the same page, and even learning how to speak their language. Like, even when I was a kid, one of the main superpowers I wanted to have was to be able to talk to animals, right? So, quick side story. I've been doing a lot of, like, horse healing. There's a place called Horse Discovery out in Peterborough here in Ontario. And they have, like, horses that they've rescued from different things, right? And they have, like, a herd there. And you can come and, like, learn how to take care of the horses. Because I think that's a big thing about having... caring for an animal, right? I don't think people realize the amount of work there's actually involved in it. Like, there's a point of like, oh, he's so cute, he's a puppy, but yeah, like, you need to also like have discipline and take them out for walkies and like have their food time at the right time. So hey Wonka, hello, welcome to the live. And so I'm just gonna read a little bit more of this, and then we're gonna go into Ellen more. Okay, so Kal-El is fussing because he's a baby here, and he Jor-El's like, honey, can you? Yeah, of course, here. Thanks, darling. And then he's like, leave it, Crypto. Leave it. And then, release. So I do that too with Wolfie, where you have like, okay, hold, sit pretty, high five, and then food time. So keeps their brains and cognition sharp. And so he says, release. And Jor-El says, you know, if the Science Council only listened as intently to me as Crypto does, we wouldn't be in this mess. Our best projections still show half a year, Jor-El, before Krypton's groundquakes become critical. But still, that's months. We should have years. So much time has been wasted on argument, on debate. And what if our projections are wrong? Nobody knows these risks better than us, honey. But what can we do? Well, every parent worries about the world they're leaving their kids. We worry about if there's even a world, if there will even be a world left for Kal-El. Honey, I think it's time that we start looking at other options. You are a messy beast, Crypto. What other options, Lara? If the Science Council won't listen to us, I've been thinking there might be a plan B that we could try. And I love this because you can see what Krypton kind of looked like back then. And I have this exact same outfit. This is me in Krypto. And look at how beautiful Superman's mom is, too. Her name's Lara. Just realized that now. So Lara and Kara, I think there's something to that when it comes to Kryptonian names. And so Lara is taking Krypto to the dog park here on Krypton. And another owner says, "Is he friendly? Can we say hello?" "Oh, sure. This is Krypto. He's adorable. This is Nemo. She's gorgeous. She's a purebred and continental retriever. Well, near as I can tell, Krypto's a bit of everything. So, how about those ground quakes yesterday, huh? If they keep up much longer, I'm gonna start getting worried." "We should all be worried. The core is becoming unstable. My husband and I are trying to..." Ha! Krypton's core? Unstable? Come on. The Science Council has proven that this is all just part of a natural cycle. Everything is going to be fine. I'm sorry, miss, but it really won't be. I wish it were otherwise. Come on, we gotta go. Come on, Krypto. So this just goes back, if you guys aren't familiar with the initial storyline behind why Kal-El was even sent to Earth. Like, I mean, in the movie, they have... Oh, wait, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but they do feature Jor-El, which is Rocket Raccoon. Why can't I think of anything, his name right now? Who Jor-El's actor was in the movie. Someone help me out in the chat if you guys remember. But anyways, it's mainly... oh, Pokey, there's no storyline better, I don't think. I think people mainly have favorites, right? You're going to have your favorite version of Superman, right? Your favorite version of Supergirl. And I don't think having your favorite negates how important the other stories are, right? Because it's not the way the universe works. Okay, so what is he here? Zero Wolf Luke, Bradley Cooper, thank you. Yes, so Bradley Cooper is Jor-El in this. And the way they kind of like structure it is like Krypton itself is a very... science-heavy world. The world itself is poisonous to its people, so they've had to rely on technology as a way to survive, right? And in this world as well, things like childbirth are not even like a thing. Like, women don't even have children naturally. They have like genetic pairings, and the baby's just kind of like birthed in like a tube of some sort. So if you've watched the show Krypton, which I thought was really good, they kind of show there like, oh, like, why would women not want to have babies naturally? It's so unsafe. But there is definitely a learning there, I think, between Superman and Supergirl and the Kryptonians, and this connection to even their bodies. Because how come on Krypton they're not able to actually have superpowers? It only happens when you are on Earth under the power of the yellow sun. So I'm just going to continue up to here, the cute baby part, and then we'll go to Alan Moore, right? So she's like, okay, no one's believing my husband because he's basically forecasting the fact that Krypton is going to be destroyed, and so we need to do something about it. But no one believes him. They think that he's crazy, and so they're like, whatever, it's fine. So here, Lara, take a look at this. I think if we start with similar prototypes, we might be able to get enough data to solve the re-entry problem. All right, that's not bad. Hold on. Shh, Kal-El. So you can see here, they're on the couch. And it's cool because husband and wife, Jor-El and Lara L, they are both working on this like problem on what's going on with Krypton, and is it like a natural disaster? Like, what actually happens? And Supergirl, in a later comic book that I have, realizes that like Krypton perhaps didn't get destroyed due to a natural disaster, that it was due to other things. And if you watch the show, they get into how Brainiac is like obsessed with Krypton. It's for some strange reason, and he like takes Kandor, the city of Kandor, and puts it in a bottle and that kind of stuff. Oh, Zero Wolf Luke. Oh, thank you. Welcome to the Cosmic Comic Book Club. Yay. Okay. So they're both working together to solve the problem. I can relate to that. I know what we're doing is right, Jor-El, but even if we succeed with the spacecraft at full scale, we'll only be able to save hundreds. There are millions living here. So they're trying to build an ark to save a lot of the people of Krypton if there's like once disaster hits. And if you guys have watched any disaster movies, right, this idea of building an ark, a way of like a path out to a promised land, right? And so Krypto's listening intently to these plans. I know. I wish it were more, Rue. I wish it were more. We're still petitioning the Science Council every day, but they won't do anything. We have to. Well, some is better than none, darling. We're trying to save as many as we can. It's grim and it's bleak, but we have to remember we're doing this for love. Yeah, and I think that's the main thing that kind of carries through that. I didn't particularly like the twist that they had when it came to Superman's parentage and Jor-El and Lara L. But I will leave that up to you guys. We can have that discussion at a later date when maybe the full moon we talk about that. And I'm also going to have a full read of this with Wolfie playing Krypto. Hopefully I can bribe him with enough treats to keep him still long enough for you guys. And then we can also talk a little bit about superhero supplements for your doggies that are also good for you, right? So they are so much like us that we think, oh, thanks, Dad Bod. Thank you for the roses. So this is the read that I want to read for you guys. So Alan Moore, one of my favorite comic book authors. He is also the author of Watchmen, V for Vendetta, and oh my gosh, it's escaping me right now. However, he's done a lot of work for DC. Now this is a gift from my sister. I saw this and I was like, Marissa, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Because I had taken out one of the stories from the library. Which one was it? There's a Superman and Swamp Thing, because Alan Moore loves Swamp Thing for some reason. But I understand why, because he's a wizard, and wizards and nature are very related. Oh, Sinestro's in this. Nice. Favorite Supergirl over the ages. Oh my goodness. I do love the Supergirl who appears in this version that I'm going to read you right now, who's from the 30th century, where it's Brainiac 5, and it's the Legion of, like, the Legion of superheroes, like, but they're from, like, the future, because I relate to that. And Helen Slater's amazing and gorgeous. That Supergirl movie from the 80s, we should probably do a screening of that. It's very sweet, you know, like, sometimes movies... Oh, I don't know if I want to read this part, because Krypto sacrifices himself for Superman. I'm just going to read this part. The part that's not as, because I don't know about you guys, I get so into stories, and it's just like, it hurts sometimes to read certain parts of the story again. And even though I know it's going to happen, I'm just like, oh my gosh. Okay, so I'm going to read you guys a story from Alan Moore. It's one of my favorites. It is Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow. All right, and I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to read the part that features Supergirl from the future, which will answer the question that someone asked me about my favorite Supergirl over the ages. And it's this version, because I had a near-death experience when I was 3 years old. So quick side story before we begin and why I relate to Supergirl a lot. So when I was 3 years old, I was visiting the Philippines with my mom, and I was spinning around with my cousin, you know, really, really fast in a circle, you know, like kids as they play. 3.5, turning 4 soon. So she let me go, and I landed on the back of my head on concrete. So at this point, the way the story goes is that I'm in a third world country at this point. They take me to a hospital. And there's not really health care there. So what ends up happening is after about like 24 hours, 48 hours, I wake up. Just wake up. like nothing ever happened, and then move on, and I live my life. And so I had a mushroom trip, magic mushroom trip. This was a couple years ago now, where I remembered almost like this weird transference of like where I was for like the 24 hours that I was blacked out when I was 3. And there is a level of what happens to this Supergirl when she's in the future, because she's like, oh, what a weird thing, this must be a whole dream, right? There's no way that I'm like, I have superpowers, because I'm on Krypton, and Krypton, like everyone on Krypton under the red sun doesn't have powers, right? So she thinks that it's just a big dream that she's Supergirl. So there's I don't know how to describe why that gave me tingles or why I understand that. It's like this strange thing of like, what's the dream? What's the memory? What's reality? Where am I? You know, especially when you get immersed in a story, right? Or let's say like you've been reading a novel, or you're like immersed in a game, or you're playing Halo, and you just like, you know, 8 hours later, you're just like, where am I? Why is it dark outside? So that weird time dilation of what that happens, like what is time and what is our perspective on time, and the animated I've only seen portions of that. That is next on the list to watch. I have seen, though, you guys, recommendations, animated movies to watch. Justice League Dark, great movie with Constantine and Zatanna in it. And Zatanna's so awesome in that movie. It's been known to help PTSD. Yes, totally, yes. And so I think that there's a lot, I've done a lot of healing lately through comic book stories. It sounds crazy, right? But Alan Moore in particular, sometimes the way he writes his prose. Oh, he's also written Promethea. Oh my gosh, how could I forget? I love Promethea. And 200 KO, thank you for the rose. So Promethea, we have to do a deep dive on that at a later date, and Promethea deserves her own cosplay. Let's just get started in the read today. We're going to read Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow. And let's see here. I want to make sure I have something a bit more 80s. Let's see here. Pet Shop Boys, It's a Sin. How about that? All right. Here we go. This is from Alan Moore, right? He's so, you notice, if you ever try, please forgive me. This is the second time I'm reading this, I think, out loud and live, so hopefully I'm better this time. But Alan Moore is always tough to read. He writes very poetically, and so sometimes I get the cadence wrong on the first read, so just like, I want to get it right. So let's go. This is an imaginary story which may never happen, but then again may, about a perfect man who came from the sky and did only good. It tells of his twilight, when the great battles were over and the great miracles long since performed, of how his enemies conspired against him, and that final war in the snow-blind wastes beneath the northern lights, of the women he loved and the choice he made between them, of how he broke his most sacred oath, and how finally all the things he had were taken from him, save for one. It ends with a wink, right? It begins in a quiet Midwestern town, one summer afternoon in the quiet Midwestern future. Away in the big city, people still sometimes glance up, hopefully from the sidewalks, glimpsing a distant speck in the sky. But no, it's only a bird, only a plane. Superman died 10 years ago. After all, this is an imaginary story. Aren't they all? Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow. Alan Moore is the writer, Kurt Swan and George Perez are the artists, And we also have Julius Swartz as the editor, Todd Klein as the letterer, Jean D'Angelo as the colorist. So I'll just show you guys this as well. So in the other comic book that I had of this story, they had a foreword where Alan Moore talks about how difficult it was for him to create this story, because this story follows Crisis on Infinite Earths, right? I think Crisis on Infinite Earths is 1985. This comes out in 1987, 1988. So it's still in that thrall of a big change in the universe. So keep that in mind. And Matt Curtis, thank you for the roses. And Pokey, thank you for the gifts as well. I saw that as I was reading through, but it was like one big poem at the top here, and it needed to be all said in that one go. I feel like it needs to be put to music to some degree. Okay, so let us begin. Gling glang. Yes. Excuse me, Miss Lois Lane. It's Mrs. Lois Elliot now. Anyway, come in. You must be Tim Crane from the planet. Kev's Collectible Spot, thank you for that intel. One of the last DC stories he wrote, and what a good one. And he writes Supergirl, right? So I guess my favorite version of Supergirl is Alan Moore's Supergirl here, right? After she dies in 85, right? She is reimagined here. So you'll see, Pokey, you'll see. You have to see the rest of it, because who is really there's a wink. Remember, it ends with a wink. Not everything is as it seems. I'm not going to ruin this just yet. We'll get to it. Okay. Gling glang. Yes, excuse me, Miss Lois Lane. It's Miss Lois Elliot now. Anyways, come in. You must be Tim Crane from the planet. That's right. Is it still convenient to do the interview with you for our Superman Memorial edition? Oh, sure. My husband's out at work, and the baby's asleep, so he won't be disturbed. Will this room be okay? Fine. Just let me set up my recorder. All right, testing. August 16th, 1997. I'm Crane interviewing Lois Elliot for the Daily Planet. Lead feature, title The Last Days of Superman. There. I think that should be okay. I feel kind of nervous interviewing you, Miss Elliot. You're sort of a legend around the Daily Planet, and I'm probably doing this all wrong. Hey, Cy Thomas, it's been a while. How's it going, my friend? Happy Sunday. Welcome to the read. I'm doing, it's because he and DC had a falling out after Watchmen. Oh, yes, we should talk about that, Kev's Collectible Spot. About writers and their relationships to the franchises, right? Like, I think Alan Moore has also written some Ant-Man stuff, and I'm not surprised because he likes that whole quantum realm stuff. So it'd be kind of interesting to kind of map out the different authors and who they've also collaborated with as illustrators, right? Because George Perez, who is one of the illustrators of this, is also one of the illustrators of Crisis, so kind of thing. Hey, oh, Jason, hey. Welcome to the live, guys. It's Supergirl Sunday. Welcome. One Punch is great, by the way. And Zero Wolf Luke, thank you for the tiny hot dog. I'm not going to say something that could end up being a double entendre there, so we'll leave it. Okay, so Tim Crane is just being honest with Lois, saying, I'm really nervous interviewing you. You're a legend around the Daily Planet. Because Lois Lane, I love Lois Lane too, right? Like Lois Lane, April O'Neil, there's just even Lana Lang, and Supergirl's Kara Danvers, one of her alter egos, is also being a reporter. There is something about reporters and storytelling in, like, it's a very meta way, I think, of comic book authors calling out how those who are news reporters and seeking out stories are how we ground or anchor reality into existence, right? So it's kind of that. K-pop Demon, oh, I loved K-pop Demon Hunters. Oh, Rumi and me. I have to learn how to sing that well. so I can do that song. I had like full body chills watching that. And my sister is so much like Mira. It's really, really funny. So I'm just like, maybe we can do a fun cosplay of the three of them. Oh yes, it's so good. It's its own thing, but it gives kudos to like anime itself, as well as like just the songs are so good. And I just love when the song matches the story, and that last song, like, this is what it sounds like. Oh, actually, I'll play that song maybe to end it. I know Golden is like the main one that like Twice did the vocals for, but my favorite one is the last song. I always love that last song where you're like, all right, this is when we win. Okay, here we go. Lois, right. Well, I suppose I should start by asking about the years leading up to Superman's disappearance and presumed death. Those were happy times? Happy? Oh, well, I don't know. They were a mixture of things, like most things. But at least they were quiet. Luthor seemed to be lying low, and 2 years earlier, Brainiac's last organic metal body had been pounded into a state beyond repair. As I recall, Superman later recovered every fragment except for the creature's head. The Parasite and Terraman had destroyed each other in a lethal clash of egos, and it seemed like there was nobody left to fight. Mostly, Superman worked in space, doing research for the government. It was a while he was still out in space, returning from such a mission, that we got our first taste of the carnage that was to follow. Oh my gosh. And Alan Moore loves to say this. Great Scott. Great Scott. What's happened here? Superman, thank heavens, you're back. Yeah, I tried using my signal watch earlier, but I guess you were out of range. But this destruction, what caused it? Was it a bomb, or worse than a bomb, Superman? It was Bizarro. Oh, thanks, Matt Curtis. Great Scott, I know that reference. Excellent, Pokey. We're on the same page. Maybe it means something. Okay, so it was Bizarro. Bizarro did this. And Superman looks back kind of incredulously, being like, Bizarro? He was completely berserk, smashing things, hurting people, pushing over buildings. It was horrible. He kept laughing. About 20 minutes ago, he retreated into that department store and hasn't come out since. Okay. I'm here now. I'll handle it. Bizarro. Incredible. I think you'll see why he's a little bit shocked by the Bizarro thing in just a second. Bizarro, come out and show yourself. I want an explanation for this. Ha! That easy. It am part of Genius Bizarro's self-improvement plan. Bizarro? See, me suddenly realize that me not am perfect, imperfect duplicate. Maybe me not trying hard enough. Example, when your planet Krypton blow up by accident, you am coming to Earth as baby, so me decide to blow up whole Bizarro world on purpose and come to Earth as an adult. The Bizarro world is blown up? That's right, haha! Pretty imperfect, right? It's pretty kind of crazy. So there was a Bizarro planet with Bizarro Kryptonians. Nudity and body exposure. Why are you restricting my live again? What is the... Okay, whatever. I don't even care. All right, let's continue on. So Bizarro is essentially... He destroyed his own planet and came as an adult for some reason. And he's like, that's pretty imperfect, because he's basically... The way he speaks is also like kind of like in opposition. And... I don't know if you guys know this, or if someone is well-versed in DC lore. Bizarro usually comes as a result of cloning Superman. So whenever you clone Kryptonians, it only is like a matter of time before they become Bizarro. But I didn't realize, like, in this world, there's this whole Bizarro planet, which, okay, sure. Bizarro, what's happened to you? I can't believe you've really destroyed your entire homeworld. Ha! That am only beginning. Next, me realize that Superman never kill. So me kill lots of people. So them are very grateful. They scream with happiness. And Superman's like, oh my gosh, you killed people? Oh, merciful Rao. But then me understand what me need to be perfect imperfect duplicate. It am little blue kryptonite meteor that me carry in lead case for good luck. So here's our introduction to blue kryptonite. So there's other kryptonites besides the green kryptonite, which is poisonous to Superman and Supergirl and all of the Kryptonians. There's also red kryptonite, which I read you guys a story before with Superwoman, where Lana Lang gets red kryptonite, and that gives her like powers, but also kind of makes her a little crazy. And then I think we don't talk about the pink one, the pink kryptonite. I would have loved it if it was Bizarro instead of Ultraman. Holy yes, Zero Wolf Luke. Because that would have been cool, because Lex Luthor, if he cloned Superman, would have ended up with a Bizarro eventually, right? I guess his like final form. So that would have been cooler to kind of see and like get into that, because I think what they lay out here is that the blue kryptonite is actually, they all affect different people differently, right? So the blue kryptonite for Bizarro or Bizarro people is like, I think toxic to them, which like, he's already Bizarro, but this is like, he's like extra Bizarro because of the blue kryptonite. And remember the lead case thing? Keeping things in lead cases keeps out the kryptonite effects. So, like, that's why friends of mine always tell me, like, be careful, Kara, of lead cases. You don't know what's in them, right? So, remember, gifts are a form of business contract, so be aware of who you're accepting gifts from. And, yeah, just be careful, friends. Okay. Can hear the jackhammers, right? They've been working on the freaking street near me like all week. The noise pollution is insane. And you like, what superhero can deal with that? I'll think about it. All right, so it am little blue kryptonite meteor that me carry in lead case for good luck. Bizarro, see, you am alive, Superman, and if me am imperfect duplicate, then we have to be, and then he's like opening up the blue kryptonite in from the lead case, and something seems to be happening to him as he's doing so. And Superman reaches out saying, Bizarro, oh, everything going dark. Hello, Superman. Hello. Oh no. It didn't make any sense at all, even by Bizarro standards. After years of harmless stupidity, that strange backwards creature had suddenly launched himself on a rampage of genocide, homicide, and finally suicide. Still, after what came next, Bizarro's death seemed trivial. You're talking about the unmasking. Yes, I'm talking about the unmasking. Delivery for Mr. Kent. I'm Clark Kent. What is it? 2 parcels delivered outside just now. The big one is real heavy. Clark, we're on the air in 3 minutes. Oh, this won't take a second, Lana. I'll just open the little one and... That's odd. Well, what is it? It's a lot of little Superman action figures. Oh, I've seen those around. They're great. Have you seen how they work? You just press their legs together like this and then an actual laser beam comes out of the little toy that is gifted to Clark Kent. And then all of a sudden, the little Supermen start to move. They're like little robot. Well, that's kind of terrifying, isn't it? Oh my gosh. Clark, it's moving. They're all moving. Shazat, look out. Oh my gosh, all the little mini Superman toys are now going out and attacking everybody. Clark, get down! You're in their line of fire! Oh God, oh my God, And they keep zapping Clark, and then finally, they're all turning on Clark. They're slicing him up. This is horrible. You have to help him. Lana, it's too late. We can't save him. He's beyond help. So this is a way for that, whoever sent the package, to unmask Clark Kent and reveal him as being Superman. But of course, this does not put necessarily Clark or Superman in danger. It usually puts his loved ones in danger. And that is what you're going to see the ramifications of this event causing, right? And then, oh, Clark, it was you. All these years, it was you this whole time. Haha, that's right, Miss Lang. It was him all the time. He just combed his hair and stuck on a pair of glasses. Ha 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 ha. What a great gag. Oh, come on, we've toyed with him enough. Clark. Superman. Those voices. Yes, I recognize them. The Toyman and the Prankster. Okay, how did you know that I was Clark Kent? Ha! What a moron. What an imbecile. Why don't you look in the big box and find out? And no fair peeking. It's lead-lined. Everybody stand back. If it's a bomb, I'll contain the explosion. All right, I'm opening it up now. Sprung! And inside the box, it's like, I don't know if I can even show this. It's really graphic. It's like that movie 7, you know, where at the end, Brad Pitt's like, what's in the box? Zeke, oh, thank you for reposting and sharing the live. Appreciate it. I love this story, not this part. It's hard to read some of the stories that you even love, right? Because you have to go through the hard parts to get to the moments of triumph, or to get to the trick or the prestige at the end, right? So in the box, I believe is Jimmy Olsen. So, oh no, it's Pete, sorry. Oh God, it's Pete, isn't it? It's Pete Ross. And he's dead. Right. What? Not before we dragged your secret identity out of him with a little bofo brainwashing. We'd planned to work through your friends, starting with the furthest away, but we hit pay dirt the first time. Prankster, Toyman, let me ask you one question. Do you know what radio waves look like? Huh? No? Why? Because I do, so he can follow them. He knows what radio waves look like, so he follows the path of where the radio is coming from. They gave in almost immediately, but they didn't seem able to tell him why they'd suddenly started. Oh my gosh, to read that again. They gave in almost immediately, but they didn't seem able to tell him why they'd suddenly decided to start murdering his friends. So it's like these two guys, they were doing this, but like their motivations were it's like they didn't know. Almost like they had mind control put on them. Brainiac, maybe, or something like that. It seemed like something was going on where they weren't really acting of their own accord when they were doing such a awful act to Superman, even though they are villains, right? Seems like a decoy. When he asked, they just looked dazed and confused. And, of course, putting them behind bars didn't mend the senseless damage that they'd caused. Pete Ross was still dead. And so was Clark Kent. Once publicly revealed, his secret identity was useless. And so, he dropped it. I remember after Pete's funeral, he talked to us all about his fears, about his worries. Oh, I have bad feelings about this. Bizarro, the prankster, the Toyman, they were all just nuisances before. So what changed them? What turned them into killers? All these years, my greatest nightmare has been that someone would strike at me through my friends, and now it's coming true. Listen, Bizarro's dead. The others are behind bars, so what is there to worry about? I don't know. It isn't rational. It's just, well, If the nuisances from my past are coming back as killers, what happens when the killers come back? And then Lois, remember, this is a story that Lois is telling, what's his name, Tim Crane, for a story for the Daily Planet, right? So I love that, like, a story within a story. This is, like, basically being illustrated as Lois is talking about. And Zeke GL, thank you for following. Welcome. Okay, we're reading Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow. This is from the DC Universe, the stories of Alan Moore. This is a gift from my sister, so shout out, Super Kitty. And we should be playing Baldur's Gate 3, maybe a little later today. Maybe tomorrow. We will see. But we have to continue that story. Hey, Scott Summers. Happy Sunday. Hope you're well. Okay. Where are we? Okay. So Lois is continuing on down here. We didn't have to mention any names. We all knew who he was talking about. The big guns. Luthor. Brainiac. What if they came back even more vicious than before? Huh. I thought that Brainiac had been destroyed. And then we can see we're back in like some... Oh yeah, I need to make a gaming PC. Also for my video editing stuff. But I need to build that. Alright, so we're now flashed to like, I think Antarctica. Or like, no, it would probably be closer to where the Fortress of Solitude is. We'll see. So did we. Deet, deet, deet. But as we found out later, other people hadn't given up quite so easily. Aha! Deet, 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 deet. I knew it! I knew you had to be up here someplace. Ha! I feel something. Just a moment. Ah, so he's digging. This is Luthor right now. Digging in the snow. How, Ethan? Thank you for the heart me, and welcome to the Cosmic Comic Book Club. Yay! I'm Supergirl, your host. Welcome, welcome. We are reading a story by Alan Moore. Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow. It was written in the 80s, the late 80s. Hence, I'm playing some 80s music in the background as we go. We're not going to read the whole story. I'll conclude that a little later on in the week. And then we'll also conclude when I have Wolfie, rested up. We will read Crypto, the Last Dog of Krypton. I also have part 2 of that, but it was really hard for me to read because freaking Lex Luthor finds Crypto, and he's so mean to him, and I can't read it. I'm like, I can't. Some things are just hard to read. Like, in like John Wick, like the first movie where like the puppy, like, come on, I can't. It's hard to watch it, and you realize that's like the motivation, and that's why you love the hero so much, because like, oh, you're like, yes, righteous vengeance. Okay, let's continue on. So Lex Luthor is looking for Brainiac, or pieces of Brainiac. So he's digging in the snow. There you are. So he finds the missing head of Brainiac, and he speaks to it, continuing on. To be frank, I've seen you looking better. Not that I'm complaining. I've always wanted to open you up and study that alien technology. Now that you're dead, I've saved the embarrassment of asking. And besides, I think you would have wanted it this way. Really? I don't know, Lex. I mean, back when you were still green with a head full of light bulbs, we were always such great buddies. Remember the Brainiac Luthor team? We were, and then all of a sudden, Brainiac's brain or skull thing starts to, like, shake and make weird noises, like the ding ting ting cling. What the hell is, oh no. And, like alien technology, it's like taking over Luthor's head. See? That's what you get for not wearing a protective gear when dealing with alien tech, Luthor. You should know better. Brainiac, stop this. I didn't even know you were alive. Brainiac, I'm warning you. No. So you can see it's like forming over his head. And then he's got these little like pinchers and then pushing into his skull. And he screams saying, ah, and Brainiac says, greetings, Lex Luthor. Your body, mind, and vocal cords all now belong to me.
I welcome you to the new Brainiac Luthor team. The way Brainiac likes to do things. Control all of it. By human standards, your brain is superb. Its stored data is massively useful. The Kryptonian has interrupted my programs and caused me indignity. I shall tolerate him no longer. Now, raise my faceplate to your head. And then he does, because he can't help himself. There. My ship was destroyed by the Superman. Our first priority is to construct a replacement. The materials will only be found in populated areas. Take one step forward. I feel you resisting me. It is useless. I repeat myself. Take one step forward. Very good. Now, another step. And Yuki's World, thank you for following. Welcome. It found a host. So Luthor now has Brainiac as like this alien parasite fused to his head, controlling what he does. So he's kind of complimented Luthor at first, being like, by human standards, your brain is very good. Its data, very useful. And so he wants to get back at Superman because of the indignity that this Kryptonian has caused him. So he's forcing Luthor now to walk, taking over his vocal cords, his neurons, and all that kind of stuff. And then he's walking, presumably back to civilization by foot. So flashing back to Lois, who is recounting this story to the Daily Planet for memorial. Because remember, this is 10 years after the death of Superman. And we're talking about what actually happened in the days leading up to it. So she says, naturally, we weren't aware of Brainiac's return until later. Over in Metropolis, however, we had our own problems. I remember it was just a couple days after Pete's funeral. The day when Superman lost a planet for the second time in his life. We were working in the office. The air conditioning was on the fritz and the sidewalks were hot, thronging with people. According to later reports, certain members of the crowd suddenly stopped dead and looked upwards. It was as if some unseen communication had passed between them. Hey, honey, you look kind of hot and bothered. Could you use a date? Come on, what's to lose? For $20 I could break your heart. And he pulls open his shirt saying, I doubt it. And a whole bunch of them, like, it seems like they're under like some sort of trance, and they like pull open their shirts and they're wearing some sort of like green, like a weird green mask, green goblin stuff, I suppose, ish. By the time we heard the screams from the street, the nightmare was already underway. There must have been hundreds of them, and they all wanted one thing: in. Great Caesar's ghost, what is happening? Chief, the building, it's under attack. We're being boarded by Metallos. We're coming, friends of Clark Kent. We are coming to kill you. The way Kent killed my brother. Prepare to be massacred, for we have no pity. We have no hearts. There's too many of them, Jimmy. Use the watch. I am. You just can't hear it. Nobody can. Z. Except for him. Oh, hey, Danny. Thank you. Thank you for the hearts. Lots of hearts back. Okay. So Metallos are up. They're here to get revenge, supposedly. Out of my way, kid. It's the woman I want to kill most. The alien-loving tramp. Let me go. Let me go. And then Lois falls through the sky, right? And you always know Superman is going to be there to catch his lady love. That's not a spoiler. I think you know that that's the case. But the way Alan Moore describes it, it's really special. Hey, Papa Dave. Welcome to the live. Thank you. Yes. We're reading stories of Alan Moore, but we're reading Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow. I have read this story to you guys before, but it is definitely worth a revisit based on the fact we got Fan Expo weekend was here in Toronto. Toronto is home to
Joe Shuster, right, who is one of the creators of Superman, the illustrator. I also love how in comic books, characters, the amount of cohesion and collaboration and creativity that it takes to create a character, it's all that good stuff. Oh, thank you, Zero Wolf Luke. Yay. I should have done a little woohoo. I'm from the prairies too, so do love the country stuff. Okay, so Lois is falling. What happened next had all the familiarity of a recurring dream. I was falling, and a violet comet was falling alongside me. The reds and blues ran together, you see, so that's how he looked when he flew. A violet comet. Hold on, Lois. I don't know how Metallo converted so many humans into creatures like himself, but there's a fast way of containing them. Okay, whatever you say. What are you doing? Rub any iron rod in the same direction for long enough, and you'll align the magnetic poles of the particles, therefore turning it into a magnet. Or in this case, a super magnet. Like when you rub your hair to stick balloons onto the wall for parties and stuff. I don't know if you guys have ever done that. Or if you rub your feet on the ground and you give yourself electric shock. That's kind of the science behind this. I love it. So he lifted the magnetized globe into the sky above the galaxy building. I remember hoping he hadn't made it strong enough to lift the cars from the street below, but I needn't had worried. He got everything just right, as always. When he'd gathered up all the metallos along with most other metal from the planet offices, he flew the paralyzed cyborgs to the St. Teresa prison complex. I gather most of them were later successfully rehumanized. When he returned, he looked as devastated as the planet offices. He insisted on taking all of his closest friends to the Fortress of Solitude, where he could defend them if the situation continued to worsen. He fetched Lana and Perry White's wife, Alice. Alice and Perry were not quite getting on, and so she was very confused and scared. I guess we were all tense. Everything had such an air of finality. And 6, thanks for following. Welcome to the Cosmic Comic Book Club. Yay, we're reading stories of Alan Moore, one of my favorites, which is Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow, which follows the events of Crisis on Infinite Earths in 1985. So it's a couple years later, 87, 88, and features the end of Superman, what would happen. And he even had a preface about this is an imaginary story, like all are, and so it's a matter of whatever meanings you derive from it are meant for you to have, and that multiple stories and multiple versions of those stories can all exist and play together in the same universe if you so want them to. So Supergirl's coming up very soon. Stay tuned. Okay, so eventually we were all at the fortress. I hadn't been there for a while, but it was still the same. Big, remote, and lonely. It wasn't called the Fortress of Solitude for nothing. Shortly, another old friend joined us. Crypto had been roaming the stars for years, but now he had returned. Oh, look! Crypto has made an appearance. Just roaming the stars. I decided to drop in. I guess you needed me, right? Thanks for the rose, Zero Wolf Luke. And thank you for liking the live, Tech. Tech Shop. Thank you. Okay. So shortly, another old friend joined us. Crypto had been roaming the stars for years, but now he had returned. Why, unless he'd sensed what the rest of us had. Despite our welcoming hugs, his arrival struck us as an ominous. It's ominous. It's almost this omen of have I pleased Krypton? Yes. And I love the Kryptonian gods. They do have a lot of commonalities with Egyptian myth, but also, have I pleased Crypto? So Crypto, we're going to do, my Wolfie, who is my Crypto in my life, we're going to be doing a read together a little bit later on this week. I wanted to do it today, but He was a little tired after our walkies earlier. And he needs a little nap, which, you know, I can understand that. You know, any of you superhero guys out there, you always need rest and recuperation. You can't just go forever. All right, that's why you need the sunlight, tanning in the sun, recharge your batteries. Okay, so I think, so basically Superman took the sign of the fact that the Metallo is attacking the Daily Planet and Krypto coming, he basically took all of his closest friends because now that he's been unmasked, he wants to protect them, right? So he brought them all to the Fortress of Solitude to protect them. But Lois, of course, is just like, it's kind of lonely and stuff out here, but he is doing it for their own protection, right? He wants to keep them safe. Sam Haven, thank you. I'm joining the story very soon. Just wait. I think we all felt we got out of the city just in time. Where is he? Why doesn't that caped coward come out and die like a man? Subject identified. Reference. Kryptonite Man. Kryptonite Man. There's a... Oh, wait. Yes, I think... Sure. I think maybe he was in the movie. Could be. The guy in the movie, though, could change into any type of matter, though. So I don't know if it's exactly the same. Anyways, Kryptonite Man. We were not alone in our decision to come here. Superman has apparently fled to the Arctic Circle. The Kryptonite Man, while intellectually limited, provides an ideal assassination weapon. Brainiac's downfall is also because he doesn't think that Superman is very smart, but he is. This remodeled ship, though inferior to my original sentient craft, will provide speedier transport to the north than whatever vehicle he arrived in. I propose we take him with us. You have no objections? Very good. Then we shall proceed. So Brainiac basically snatches up Kryptonite Man because he's going to use him against Superman going forward. Even though it was deathly silent in the fortress at the top of the world, if you listened hard enough, you could almost hear the vultures gathering. He prepared a meal for us, and then it was time for bed. He showed us all to the guest quarters and looked sad as he led Perry and Alice to separate rooms. So he brought both Perry and his wife Alice, but I guess they're fighting or having marital issues at this time. So he's sad, of course, that his friends are not together, because who wouldn't want your friends, to stay together? And then Lois continues on as she's narrating the story, right? I couldn't sleep, so I knocked on the door of Lana's room, which was next to mine. Over the years, we'd been rivals, uneasy friends, and finally, strangers. And that night, none of it mattered. We both loved him. We were both scared that he was going to die, and after we'd put that into words, we both cried and held each other until we fell asleep. As for Superman, well, I guess he must have felt restless too, but in a different way. I mean, we all had trouble getting to sleep, but he didn't need to sleep at all. I'm glad you came back, Krypto. You're a piece of my life, you know that. I don't know. I feel as if all the pieces of my life are finally coming together. You know what I mean. Animals get these feelings too, when they know. Ruff, ruff. What's the matter? What's happening? And then, big flash of light, and there's this portal that opens up in the Fortress of Solitude. So just so you guys know what this is a monument to Supergirl because she has already passed after in the events of this story from Crisis. So she's already done her sacrifice for the multiverse, and so there's a monument at Fortress of Solitude that Superman has put up for her. So as he's pondering life and having a hard time sleeping, a portal basically opens up. And the Legion, which I was talking to you guys about earlier, what shows up? The Legion! Greetings from the 30th century, Superman. We do hope you don't mind us dropping in like this. But we thought you might appreciate the sight of a few friendly faces. And Supergirl is one of the visitors. Kara. Hello, Cal.
I was visiting the Legion in the 30th century when they announced they were coming back to see you. Here, in my future. Well, haven't you got a hug for your cousin? Oh, of course. It's just strange. Oh, it must be. I bet I'm a grown-up superwoman in this time zone. Is it cheating if you tell me whether I grow up to be really pretty? You grew up to be beautiful, Kara. Come on. Well, oh my gosh, I'm having a hard time reading that. You grew up beautiful, Kara. Come on, let's go this way. Or the light's better. So he's trying to lead her away from the monument because he doesn't want to let her know, of course, that she's not here anymore in this timeline, right? Oh, King Poppy, thank you for liking. Welcome to the live. We're reading some Alan Moore, and we've got Supergirl from a different timeline visiting Superman, and he's getting a little choked up about it, especially since what he's going through. And Supergirl sees Crypto. She's like, oh my goodness, Crypto. Hello, Crypto. Hello, boy. I hope you and Streaky. So Streaky is actually Supergirl's cat. I don't know if you guys know this, but Supergirl's actually a cat owner. She has Streaky the cat. So, it says here, I hope you and Streaky aren't still scrapping all the time. Superman, could I have a word? Yes. Yes, of course, Brainiac. Brainiac. What is the meaning of this? You know Supergirl is dead in this era, and you're from the future. This is history to you. I'm sorry. She insisted on coming. I realize how distressing it must be. Oh, I doubt it. You talk calmly to us, all the while knowing our death dates as ancient history. How can you do it? Superman, you are being unfair. In your past, as Superboy, you have seen some of our future. Would you tell us if you knew of some avoidable doom awaiting us? No. And they're like whispering in the back while like they're just talking to Supergirl, and Supergirl's hanging with Crypto. Starius Darius, have I watched Krypton the Superdog cartoon? I haven't watched the cartoon. I've played the game. Super Pets, the one where you can fly as Crypto. I've also, let's see here. I have this comic book, which I'm going to be reading soon with my own Crypto, The Last Dog of Krypton. And I do love Kryptonian lore. I love, in any world that I love deep diving into, the history, the mythos, like the reason why, because Superman even is like, Great Rao, because Rao is their sun god, right? And so they have a very, their cosmology is actually quite similar to Egyptian myth. And so in the story, of course, things are talked about on a symbolic level. My Bluetooth is now gone. My 80s music is kind of wrapped up, and I'm also wrapping up this story very soon, even though it's not the full story. We'll come back very soon and do a more in-depth analysis of different timelines as they exist in the DC world. Crypto the Super Dog. I don't think I watched that. I will go back, and I love going back and watching old cartoons. Do you guys remember Mummy's Alive from back in the day, or what was that other one? Gargoyles. There's a lot of good cartoons from back in the day where a lot of the stories within that episode are quite tight, and they're actually pretty decent, and they could be blown out to be. What is the most general reason why Krypton exploded? I think the way they explain it is that the core gets unstable, and it's a natural disaster that happens, Rusty. But I do have a comic book with Supergirl where she goes to see the Green Lanterns because there's this cosmic conspiracy where Krypton is apparently targeted for destruction by one of the Guardians. And the Guardians in the DC universe are the bosses of the Green Lanterns, and they deem themselves as judiciaries, however you say that. Anyways, arbiters of justice throughout the cosmos. So Supergirl comes up with this conflict to the Green Lanterns, basically being what would you do if your own bosses were working for the bad guys? And there you go, judiciaries. Thank you, Rusty. It's hard for me because yeah.
Anyways, let's continue onward. So we're reading Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow, which is a story by Alan Moore. So this is actually a gift from my sister. Alan Moore is one of my favorite comic book authors and authors in general. He's very magical in nature. The way that he writes his prose, just double entendres and things. So he wrote Watchmen, V for Vendetta, as well as, you know, a number of the DC stuff in here, as well as, have I read Watchmen or Swamp Thing? I have read Watchmen. I own Watchmen as well. Yes, me too. He also wrote The Killing Joke, right? That story is also in here as well. It's the final one. And it's the one before the recolor. And so that's an interesting thing about comics as well, right? So if you read like mangas like Berserk or even Sailor Moon, it's all done in black and gray. And even a lot of the comic books, like the more grittier graphic novels, like I have a Sin City comic book where there's color used, but it's to accent certain things. Like you're either going to use like red or like a yellow, and it's a way of like also encoding that into your consciousness as well. So, oh, Mom Chico, wow, it's been a little while. Thank you, my daily dose. Oh yeah, Vinland Saga I am not familiar with, but I will make a note of that. Yes, Berserk also has some really intense animated movies. I really love anime for their ability. I did yesterday, so like briefly, because as I said, I don't like crowds and stuff, and a lot of the more impressive things and more fun things always have lines, and so I'm just like, oh, I cannot. I do want to plan out my next year for where we can maybe travel to different fan expos and we can have more like parties in that sense. But I am planning a Cosmic Room party in later September that will be in person too. So if you guys are in the area, maybe you can come in real life and we can party in real life. Hey, Black Superman. Hello. Welcome. Perfect timing. We're talking about you, Superman. And there is a Black Superman. It's actually in Grant Morrison's Multiversity. He's a big part of like the time people, like the time traveler people who keep, you know, order in the universe when it comes to the time stream. Cable from the X-Men is also a similar kind of character. So yeah, let's keep going. So Brainiac, so remember it's kind of interesting because Brainiac in like this timeline is like being all evil, but Brainiac 5 from like the Legion of Superheroes from like the 30th century is not, right? So yeah. Oh my gosh, Calvin Ellis and Val Zod. Oh, I love the, if you've watched Krypton, the Zods are pretty cool too. So that's, yeah, I can yeah, we should do some Krypton screenings because they have a lot of good stuff in there. Because as well, remember, Kryptonians on Krypton do not have superpowers, right? So it begs the question, perhaps if we were on another planet, would we have superpowers? Dun dun dun. Or are we supposed to have superpowers here already? We just don't know how to activate our cells, right? Yet. So because I've read once, Jay, thank you for the heart me. Depends on the sun. Like I wonder how we would do us Kryptonians with like a blue sun, right? Because like for example, like Regulus or Sirius, these are white or blue suns or stars. And I was reading a comic book once where Batgirl and Supergirl like break out this Kryptonian from Wayne Enterprises. And Supergirl gets hurt because the girl is like, I want to go to the Phantom Zone. And we're like, why do you want to go there? And something happens and Supergirl gets hurt. So Batgirl takes her out because it's nighttime out to this open field so she can lay out in the starlight, and the starlight heals her. So there's some, I think, stuff there too, like weaker under a red sun. And red suns, I think I talked to you guys before about how like in astronomy, red suns like Betelgeuse are like bigger and older. So, I mean, hey Kiwi, but stronger under blue and white. So I think there's also something to be said about like also star systems that contain two suns. Tatooine, Star Wars, like Luke Skywalker, he lives on a planet with two suns. In my book, I actually also have a planet of two suns. And if you guys have seen the show Three Body Problem, they talk about what it would be like if you had three suns. and what that does to your cosmic stuff, because here on Earth, of course, we have one sun, our yellow solar sun, and when we think about chemical reactions like photosynthesis or cellular respiration, or how our body is able to take energy and like transform it into something else, right? That's really what electricity and power is. Like, power is power. It's just, how are we able to convert it? And we ourselves as human beings, I think that there's a lot of stuff to be unlocked as it comes to being able to take the yellow sun and transform it into a way that we can like activate our genetic codes or whatever that looks like, right? Asian Superboy, sure. All right, Ant-Man cosplay, yeah, hello. Okay, so let's continue on. I'm only gonna go for a couple more panels and then we will wrap up. Okay, I'm so interested how it gave me a restriction, because I'm like, I'm really not that naked right now, and I guess maybe it's because I'm not. Anyways, whatever, let's go. Okay, so he's leading her away, and like Brainiac 5 is whispering with Cal, Superman in the corner, because he's like, why did you come here? You know that Supergirl's like dead in this time stream, in this era. There's a danger if she finds out this, that kind of stuff. Oh, thanks, Money One. Let's call it that. All right. No, you're right. Forgive me, Brainiac. I'm just under pressure at the moment. Of course. Now, let me give you this on behalf of the Legion. It's the reason we came to this period. Well, thank you, but why did you choose this particular date to present it to me? So they came all this way through a portal to basically gift Superman this award, this like statue. DJ will become super. Yeah, exactly, Kiwi. Yes. TikTok bots are stupid when it comes to cosplays. Of course, yeah. You know, I think cosplay is also misunderstood, you guys, right? Being at Fan Expo here, like even yesterday, we went to Rec Room, me and hubby, just like to play video games and like realize that like I wanted to win a crypto stuffy, but I didn't have enough tickets. And so I was trying to do the games that give you more tickets, but they weren't the fun games like Halo and stuff. So whatever, anyways, we had fun. But I got to see a lot of like the more intricate cosplays, like I do more like Western cosplay, so the more anime versions, like if you were to cosplay as Guts, right, and you like made that sword, like stuff like that. My sister actually bought the Berserk sword from Fan Expo. I think it's because I actually own the Kill Bill sword replica, because I love like movie props. There's such a magic to like what you put into things. Like it's why I like certain books that I have, I love owning them. So I'm so like thankful that she like gifted me this, because I had initially read you guys this story when I had taken it out from the library, but of course I had to give it back to the library. So it was just like, now I get to own this story, and you can always revisit it, go back to that world whenever you want to, right? Oh, thanks, Kiwi. It's my mushroom land. It becomes a portal with enough psychedelics. Okay, so they present Superman with this award, but really this award has a key in it, which we will revisit at a future date when we come back to the story. Well, because our histories mark this date as a special time in your life, therefore we came here to meet with you again and salute you and pay your last respects. Is that it? Cousin, Supergirl says, I just thought of something. As the Supergirl of this era, am I away visiting another time period or something? Because I thought you couldn't materialize in an era where you already existed. Dun dun dun. She's caught on to something here. Hey, Spider Carnage, welcome to the live. Yes, you're right. Right now, Supergirl is in the past. Perhaps we'd best return you to our 30th century to prevent any problems should this era's Supergirl, return unexpectedly. Oh, well, I guess so. Give me my regards when I return from the past. Goodbye, Superman. We will always miss you.
Brainiac, can we go? My eyes are watering. It must be some 20th century virus. He never told me exactly what happened that night before the siege began, but as soon as I saw him the next morning, I knew that something had upset him. He looked funny. He looked as if he had been crying. And so that's the end of that issue, but then it continues on here. Action Comics by Alan Moore and Kurt Swain and Kurt Schaffenberger. Goodbye, Superman. We will miss you. And it continues on the story of whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow, where Lois continues on the story, and we will continue this on a little later. It's really sad what happens to Crypto. So that was the read for today. I actually wanted to do some Kryptonian myth and some timeline stuff because, the past, the future, the different futures, the what reality is, the rules around time travel and all that kind of stuff. Which superpower is best, flying or laser from eyes? I would pick flying over laser eyes. Laser eyes are pretty cool though. It's the stack of powers, which is interesting as well, which would be a fun analysis because the way that they explain it in my own research, because I'm actually part of like the DC universe like wiki Discord. And that's how nerdy I am. But the way that the Kryptonian superpower stack is explained is that, yes, of course, the yellow sun, but it's because like each cell for, thanks, Zero Wolf Luke. So each cell of each Kryptonian is like, has the capacity to hold, like, I think it's like 100 or 1,000 times the power of like a human cell. So it's kind of like that, where like there's an ability to really fully expand or like take as much of the sun energy to convert into actual like usable power, right? So thanks again, Zero Wolf Luke, for the cool sunglasses. Yay. And Angry Turd. What do I think of the new Superman movie? I liked it. I wish they did a little bit more with the Justice Gang thing. I liked what they did with Guy Gardner. Lois, I thought, was really strong. I thought she was a good Lois Lane. That like nice balance between being like a tough biatch, but also like having that sweet undertone. Crypto was probably my favorite part of the whole movie. The part where Supergirl shows up at the end, spoiler alert. Man of Steel or the new Superman movie? That's tough. They're very different. Because Man of Steel was much darker. This, I feel, was more like comic book. And I was told that the story behind this is actually All-Star Superman, which I think Grant Morrison is part of crafting that storyline as well. So I would say like maybe the new Superman movie, but like just like slightly. And only really because Supergirl's in it. And it ties in together a other like Crypto and the other Kryptonians and the lore behind Superman. Kind of stuff. It humanizes him, which is kind of an interesting thing considering he's an alien. But I think there is something to be told there too, how like home, if we travel away from home, you're always going to be alien to a place that you travel to. So to any of you that are travelers, whether that's in like dreamscapes or like you're visiting another country, you are alien to that, right? So if we expand that definition of what it's like to be alien, I think it's like this level of each of us who sometimes feel like we don't belong, we don't quite fit, but realizing that it's more to it than like where you came from or where you're born, that has you belonging to a family, right? And what that actually means on like a heart-centric kind of thing. Yeah, James Gunn was good to have good feel-good vibes. Exactly, because at the end of the day, like me and my sister talked about this, that like Batman is really meant to be like the darker stories are couched within the Batman mythos, right? The Bat family has a lot of like, I have Infinite Crisis, and holy cow, I had a hard read. Killing Joke, hard read. The illustrator of Killing Joke, he said that like, wow, when Alan Moore gave him like the script for him to draw it, he had a hard, like especially the stuff that had to do with Batgirl and Barbara,
it was really tough, right? And I mean, for me, even like reading stories and writing stories, there are parts that are, of course, difficult, right? But it's important to go through them, right? Because to have the catharsis, to have the win at the end of it, it needs to be worth it, right? So just realize that any challenge that you have, like, you know, reading superhero stories, this is all fantastical, but when it comes to like, oh yes, Berserk is really difficult. Oh my gosh. Oh, and you know what? Guts and they have that Lex Luthor Clark Kent thing too, right? This idea of like brothers or friendship. Fox and the Hound, right? Where like we were friends once and now we're bitter enemies. And it's because you're foils of the same, right? And I think that's something to kind of keep in mind too when it comes to us in this reality as a reality that creates stories where we in our own lives don't paint everything with this black and white brush where someone's just a villain or someone's evil or this kind of thing. There's always this opportunity for redemption as well. Of course, you have to keep your deduction skills sharp, right? Be aware of like the clues of your own intuition, right? All that kind of stuff. So big straw. Yeah, because I lift weights, man. All right, guys, I am done for this live. Thank you so much for joining me today for the live as Supergirl, Kara Zor-El, the last daughter of Krypton. We did a little bit of crypto, but we'll probably come back with crypto, Wolfie, to, how should I put it? To read crypto as well. So you guys have a beautiful day, and remember, it takes true courage for you to be exactly you in this cosmic game of life. Thank you so much, Zero Wolf Luke. I love your name as well. Wolf Pack, right? What do I say? Like when the lone wolves get together and we form that pack, we're an apex predator, baby. So to all of you finding your tribe and being exactly who you're meant to be, because the universe is counting on you. But no worries, I have your back. Until next time, my friends, bye.